My husband passed away right before noon. When I called my parents, panicking, my mom just said, "We're at your sister's birthday party. Can it wait until tomorrow?" I hung up. And that's when I realized I didn't just lose my husband, I lost my family too. Before we dive in, where are you listening from right now? What's your story? Drop it in the comments. My name is Claire Bennett. I'm 32. Until 2 weeks ago, I was married to Tyler, my college sweetheart, my best friend. We lived in Evanston, Illinois, in a modest 2-bedroom with our daughter Ellie, who's 8 and has her dad's crinkly smile and his weird obsession with pancakes shaped like dinosaurs. Tyler worked in finance. He had this calm way of explaining things that made people feel safe, not just clients, but me, too. I worked part-time at a small architectural firm, enough to keep my brain busy, but mostly I was home with Ellie. We'd built a quiet life, full of good routines, dinner at 6, soccer on Saturdays, and Tyler, always Tyler, right in the middle of everything, until that Tuesday morning, he made us pancakes Stegosaurus for Ellie, T-Rex for me. I packed her lunch. He kissed us both goodbye. His last words were, "Don't forget the real maple syrup, not that corn syrup stuff." Then he walked out the door, and I never saw him alive again. At 10:47 a.m., I got the call. It was Amanda, his assistant. Her voice was shaking. "Claire, Tyler collapsed during a meeting. They've called an ambulance. He's on his way to Northwestern Memorial. I dropped my coffee. It shattered on the tile. The next thing I remember, I was speeding through red lights and whispering to God under my breath like it was a deal I could still make. I was too late. Tyler was pronounced dead at 11:23. Massive heart attack. They told me nothing could have been done, as if that made anything better. I touched his face. It was still warm. I waited for his chest to rise. It didn't. I had to call someone. I needed a grown-up. So I called my mom. She picked up on the 5th ring, over the sound of background music and laughter. "Claire, honey, can I call you back? We're in the middle of Lauren's birthday dinner." I could barely speak. "Mom, Tyler's gone. He had a heart attack this morning. He's gone." There was a pause. Then I heard her covering the phone and whispering to someone. When she came back, her voice was almost bored. "Oh my God, are you sure? Maybe there's a mistake." I saw him. "Mom, there's no mistake." "Well, this is such a shock." "But, sweetie, we've got the whole family here. The caterers just arrived. Can you manage tonight? We'll come by tomorrow." That's when I knew. I wasn't the priority. Not even close. Then my dad got on the phone. "Claire, this is awful news." Was Tyler's life insurance in order? "You should call the company first thing. Not, 'Are you okay?' Not, 'We're coming right now.' No. He asked about money. That night. Ellie curled up in bed with me, clutching one of Tyler's unwashed t-shirts. She didn't cry loud. She just trembled and kept whispering, "I want Daddy." After she finally fell asleep, I went into the bathroom, shut the door, and broke down. I'd never felt physical pain like that. It was like my chest was caving in, like someone had turned gravity up and I couldn't lift my own body. I needed my parents, not for anything big, just to be there. But they weren't coming. Tyler and I had been together since sophomore year at Northwestern. I was drowning in economics, and he was the TA who offered to help me figure out depreciation curves. I remember the first time I saw him laugh, really laugh, the kind that crinkled his whole face. That was it for me. He proposed on graduation day. Ring in my diploma case. We got married at 23. Everyone said it was too soon, but it never felt like a gamble. It felt like home. We had 5 quiet years. Then we decided to try for a baby. That was its own storm: miscarriages, doctor visits, tears in the middle of the night. We were talking about adoption when I got pregnant with Ellie. That pregnancy nearly broke me. I was on bed rest for 2 months. Tyler worked from home, made me breakfast every day, read parenting books out loud like bedtime stories. When Ellie was born, he cried harder than I did. He never missed a parent-teacher meeting, never missed a doctor's appointment. He even coached her soccer team, despite not knowing anything about soccer. He watched YouTube tutorials after she went to bed just to keep up. Looking back, there were signs. He'd brush off chest pains as stress. Say the shortness of breath was just because he skipped the gym. Even the doctor said it was nothing to worry about. He was 39, fit, non-smoker. It didn't make sense, but none of it ever does when it's already too late. The funeral was set for that Saturday. I didn't sleep more than 20 minutes at a time. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw him lying there. Tyler's parents came immediately. His brother, Marcus, flew in from Japan and never left my side. But my own parents. They showed up late. They asked what they should wear, black or colorful. And then, at the reception, I overheard my father saying to my uncle, Tyler was on the partner track. That life insurance must be solid. Claire'll be set for life. 2 weeks later, they showed up at my door, smiling, polished. Like it was just a casual visit. They sat in my living room, complimented Tyler's speakers, and then they said it like it was perfectly normal given Tyler's passing and everything we've done for you over the years. We were thinking it would be reasonable for you to share. Half of the insurance payout. Maybe. It would help with our retirement. I didn't even feel rage. I felt hollow, like something inside me just disconnected. And in that silence, I realized this wasn't grief anymore. This was betrayal. I don't remember much from the week after Tyler died, just fragments. Ellie's tiny hand wrapped in mine at night. The blinking cursor of emails I couldn't bring myself to answer. The sound of the washing machine running in the middle of the night because I needed some noise to feel less hollow. Telling Ellie the truth was the hardest thing I've ever done. She got into the car after school, holding up her art project. "Where's Daddy?" she asked. He promised he'd come to my art show. I pulled over. I couldn't drive anymore. Her voice was still full of belief and I was about to break it. "Sweetheart, something happened today." Her eyes narrowed, picking up something in my tone. "Daddy got very sick. His heart stopped working." "Can the doctors fix it?" she asked. I shook my head, trying to keep my voice steady. "No, baby. They tried. But Daddy died today." She blinked. Once, then it hit. The sob that tore through her wasn't just crying. It was like the sound a house makes when it breaks in a storm. She threw herself into my lap, screaming for him, over and over, "I want Daddy, I want Daddy." And there was nothing I could do. Just hold her, stroke her back, and whisper that I knew. I knew. The funeral was 4 days later, a bright, cruel Saturday morning, blue skies, warm air. I hated how normal it all looked outside. Ellie insisted on wearing the blue dress Tyler loved. He said I looked like a princess in this. She told me. I braided her hair the way he used to, just above the temple. My hands were shaking the whole time. We got there early. Tyler's co-workers showed up in dark suits, glassy-eyed and stunned. Some of them knelt down to talk to Ellie, told her stories about how her dad kept photos of her in his office, how proud he was. Tyler's parents, Diane and Robert, arrived next. His mom hugged me like she was holding both of us together. His dad squeezed my shoulder and said nothing, just looked me in the eye, steady and full of grief. My parents. They texted me 20 minutes before the service. Running late traffic's terrible. They walked in during the first hymn. My mom in a floral dress like she was attending brunch. My dad whispering about parking. They took their seats in the front row like nothing was wrong. Lauren, my sister, was with them, still scrolling on her phone as the pastor began to speak. After the service, we hosted a small reception at our house. People brought casseroles, cookies, sympathy. My mom hovered in the kitchen but didn't offer to help. Lauren sat in the living room like a guest at someone else's tragedy. And then I overheard my dad, talking to my uncle by the drinks table. Tyler must have had a solid policy. That life insurance alone could float Claire for years. She's set. I stood there with a plate of untouched lasagna and felt something calcify inside me. Not even buried. And they were already counting the money. Tyler's family, meanwhile, was everywhere I needed them to be. His mom took Ellie upstairs, helped her change out of the blue dress, made sure she ate something. His dad took out the trash without asking. Marcus, his brother, sat beside me and didn't speak, just kept his hand over mine when it trembled. No speeches, no advice, just presence. That night, I lay in bed next to Ellie. She clutched Tyler's t-shirt like it could bring him back. I stared at the ceiling, feeling the space he used to fill, and I waited for some sign of comfort from my own family. Nothing came. 2 weeks passed. Then came the knock. I wasn't expecting them. I hadn't heard much, a couple of vague texts from my mom saying, "Thinking of you and hope you're holding up." But now, there they were, smiling, dressed like they were heading to lunch. My dad in his golf shirt, my mom with her makeup perfect. It felt rehearsed. "We thought we'd check in," my mom said, breezing past me into the living room. "Is Ellie at school, a dut?" We wanted to talk privately. I didn't ask what about. I already had a bad feeling crawling up the back of my neck. They sat on the couch, complimented Tyler's new sound system like it was a showroom. "Good taste," my dad said, running his hand along the speaker. He really had an eye for quality. Then they got to the point. "We know you've been through a lot," my dad began, like he was reading from a script, "and we've been thinking about your situation, financially." My mom jumped in, with Tyler's passing and the life insurance and the investments. "Your father and I, well, we're getting older. Healthcare isn't cheap." My stomach turned. "Are you asking me for money?" They exchanged a glance. "We thought maybe half of the insurance payout," my dad said, leaning forward like he was offering me a great deal. "It would really help secure our retirement. And we'd like to help Lauren a bit, too. She's been struggling with her art business. Half of the money Tyler left behind so Ellie and I wouldn't struggle." They were asking for it like it was nothing. I don't even remember standing up. Just the sound of my own voice, low and shaking. "Get out." "Claire, don't be emotional," my dad said, standing up too. "This is just practical family planning. Get out." My mom tried to soften it. "We raised you. We helped you with college, with your first down payment. We've always supported you. This is just returning the favor." I pointed to the door. "You couldn't even leave a birthday dinner to be with me the day my husband died. You don't get to ask me for favors, not now, not ever." They left in a huff, muttering about how ungrateful I'd become. That night, while I was washing dishes, Ellie came into the kitchen. She looked small, quiet. "Mom, were Grandma and Grandpa talking about Daddy's money?" I froze. "What makes you ask that? I heard Grandpa at the funeral. He told Uncle James we'd get lots of money now that Daddy was gone." I dried my hands, crouched down, and looked her in the eye. "Sweetheart, Daddy made sure we'd be okay. But no amount of money can replace him. You know that, right?" She nodded, then whispered, "I'd give it all back just to have him here." "Me too. Baby, me too." 3 days after I threw them out, my phone buzzed with a voicemail from my dad. "Claire, we need to handle this like adults. Come to the house Sunday at 2. Bring Ellie. No apology, no acknowledgement, just a command." I stared at the phone for a long time. Then I hit play again, just to be sure I'd heard it right. Bring Ellie, part of me wanted to ignore them, pretend they no longer existed, but another part, the quieter, more dangerous part, knew this wasn't over. Not until I said it out loud. Not until I made it clear they weren't going to steamroll me again. When I told Ellie, she didn't flinch. "Do we have to go? I think we should," I said. "It's time they heard the truth." She paused, then looked up. "Can I bring something with me?" "What kind of something?" "Just something Daddy would have wanted me to bring." She didn't explain. I didn't push. Sunday came like a weight pressing down on my chest. Ellie got dressed without a word. When I asked if she was ready, she nodded, holding a manila envelope tight against her chest like a shield. As we pulled into the driveway of my childhood home, I saw the extra cars. My parents hadn't just called a meeting. They'd called an audience. Inside the living room, I saw them all: Uncle James, Aunt Rita, Dad's brother, Terry, and his wife, Barbara, Lauren, of course, perched on the arm of the couch, phone in hand. My parents stood waiting like hosts of a dinner party. "Claire, Ellie, come in," my mom said, putting on that soft tone she used for church or charity fundraisers. "Everyone's waiting." I looked around the room, felt the walls closing in. Ellie stood close to me, still holding her envelope. My dad motioned toward the center of the room. "Let's sit. We have some important family matters to go over." I didn't sit. "I'm not here to be cornered," I said, "and Ellie stays beside me. Anything you say to me, you can say in front of her." My mother frowned. "Claire, this isn't appropriate for a child. If it's too inappropriate for her to hear," I said, my voice low, "then maybe you shouldn't be saying it." My dad cleared his throat the way he always did when he was about to deliver something official. He pulled a folder from the coffee table and handed me a printed sheet. "We've drafted what we believe is a fair proposal. Given what your mother and I have contributed to your life, and the financial challenges we face in retirement, and considering Lauren's situation," he trailed off, motioning for me to read. I scanned the paper. 65%. They had somehow found out the exact value of Tyler's life insurance, and they were asking for 50% to go to my parents and 15% to Lauren, all itemized, all typed up like a business contract. I looked up slowly. "You want 65% of the money Tyler left for Ellie and me?" My voice didn't shake. It froze. "This is what you gathered the family for. Family takes care of family," my mother said gently, as if she were the victim here. "You're in a position to help now. We just want what's fair." "What's fair?" I echoed. "You mean like how you stayed at a birthday dinner while I held Tyler's hand in the morgue?" The room went still. No one moved. Aunt Rita shifted in her seat, visibly uncomfortable. Lauren rolled her eyes. "Claire, we've already apologized. This is about moving forward. You're suddenly rich, and the rest of us are struggling." "Suddenly rich," I said. "My husband died. My father stood up, tone hardening. We are your parents. We raised you, paid for your education, supported you through life. And this is how you treat us." I looked around the room, all those faces, some sympathetic, some blank, but not one person stepped in, except Ellie. She let go of my hand, stepped forward, still clutching that manila envelope. "I have something to say," she said. Her voice wasn't loud, but it cut through the room like a blade. My mother tried to smile. "Sweetheart, the adults are talking no." Ellie said, standing taller, "This is about my daddy." She opened the envelope, pulled out a single sheet of paper, hand-drawn in colored pencil. She held it up. "I made this for you, since you came for money." It looked like a child's drawing, but it was formatted like a bill. At the top, invoice for real love and support below. Each line item was listed. Being there when Daddy died, $0. Not provided. Helping Mom when she was sad, $0. Not provided. Hugging me when I cried for Daddy, $0. Not provided. Being real grandparents. Priceless, but not paid. At the bottom, total $0. She handed it to my father. Silence. Even Lauren put down her phone. My dad's hand trembled as he took the paper. My mom covered her mouth. I couldn't tell if she was crying or just shocked someone finally called them out. Ellie stepped back and took my hand. They didn't come when it mattered, she said. They only came when they thought there was something to take. I looked at everyone in that room, and for once, they had no words. We're done here, I said quietly. My father started to speak, but I held up my hand. Don't. Unless you plan to apologize sincerely, completely don't contact us again. I turned to the rest of them. If you came here thinking I'd be guilted into handing over the future my husband died trying to secure for our daughter, you came to the wrong house. I walked Ellie to the door. She looked up at me and whispered. Was I brave enough? I squeezed her hand. More than brave. You told the truth when no one else would. As we stepped outside, I felt something shift. Not just anger, clarity. I wasn't afraid of them anymore. After we left that meeting, I went straight home and blocked their numbers. Every single one. My mother, my father, even Lauren. I needed air. I needed silence. Marcus flew in from Japan 2 days later. He didn't even call first, just showed up at the door with 2 suitcases and a look that said, I'm here. No questions. Just here. He moved into the guest room and quietly took over everything I didn't have the strength for grocery runs, helping Ellie with homework, taking over bedtime stories when my voice cracked too much to finish them. The grief didn't go away, but it shifted, stopped being this sharp, unbearable thing and became something I could carry. Tyler's values were everywhere. In how Marcus showed up, in the way Ellie folded laundry without being asked, in the quiet dignity of doing the next right thing, even when it hurt. After the confrontation, the family split like dry wood. Some people went radio silent. Others called awkward and halting, trying to find a way back in. Aunt Barbara, Uncle Terry's wife, called me from a number I hadn't blocked. I want you to know not all of us agreed with what Brad and Carol did, she said. She told me they'd been told the meeting was about honoring Tyler's legacy, not splitting up his money. I should have known better, she admitted. I just didn't think they'd actually go there. Her honesty caught me off guard. It was the first time in a while someone in that family had spoken plainly without spin. 2 weeks later, a letter showed up in the mailbox, handwritten, no return address. But I recognized the handwriting. My mom. I sat with it unopened for 2 days. Then one night, after Ellie fell asleep clutching the stuffed lion Tyler gave her for her 3rd birthday, I opened it. Claire and Ellie, we've had time to reflect, and we know we failed you, both of you, in ways that can't be undone with explanations. There's no excuse for prioritizing anything over your pain. There's no defense for asking what we asked. We don't expect forgiveness, but we do hope that someday we'll be able to show you we can be better than we were. It wasn't perfect, but it was different. No excuses, no emotional manipulation. Just the truth. I didn't reply, but I didn't throw it away either. Months passed. Marcus extended his stay. He picked up a teaching offer at Northwestern for the spring. Just a guest semester, he said, but we both knew it was more than that. Ellie started sleeping through the night again. She smiled more. She asked about Tyler a little less often, and then, one day, more often, but with curiosity instead of just pain. We kept going. One small day at a time. One Saturday afternoon in April, Ellie and I were walking out of the library when she stopped on the sidewalk. Mom, do you think we'll ever see Grandma and Grandpa again? I paused, then crouched next to her. Do you want to... I don't know, she said. Maybe, if they're different now. Then she looked up at me, her expression so much older than her years. Do you think the envelope helped them see it? I nodded slowly. Yeah. Baby. I think it did. Eventually, another letter arrived. This one with a small package, a book on astronomy, not glittery princess stuff, not pink fluff like every birthday before, a book Ellie would actually love. The letter didn't ask for a visit, just said, if you'd ever consider letting us see her even for 15 minutes, we'd be grateful, only on your terms. So we met at a frozen yogurt shop near her school. Public, neutral, safe. They were careful. No talk of money, no unsolicited advice. They asked about her science project, about her best friend at school. It was awkward, but it wasn't fake. Over time, we allowed a few more visits, always short, always with me present. They never pushed. They never tried to rewrite what happened. They just showed up, quietly, carefully. It was strange seeing them like that, restrained, tentative. But in that restraint was something almost resembling respect. When Tyler's birthday came around, we held a small memorial in the backyard. Barbecue, photos, his favorite playlist in the background. Diane and Robert brought a cake Ellie helped decorate. Marcus grilled. We lit lanterns at dusk. Ellie let hers go last. My parents came too. They brought a photo album I'd never seen before Tyler as a teenager, laughing at some beach, holding a boombox. They didn't try to take over. They didn't try to make the day about them. They just sat near the back, spoke quietly with the people Tyler loved, and left early without drawing attention. It wasn't reconciliation, but it was respectful. And for now, that was enough. Later that evening, Ellie and I went to the lake. It was a spot Tyler loved, just a little bench under a tree that leaned toward the water like it was listening. We sat there for a while in silence. Then Ellie said, I still miss him every day. I do too. I told her. She skipped a stone across the water. Do you think he'd be proud of us? I smiled. I think he'd be amazed by you. She looked down at her hands. Maybe the envelope helped Grandma and Grandpa change. I nodded. That's how we honor your dad, sweetheart, by knowing our worth and holding the line. She leaned her head on my shoulder. The sun was dipping below the lake. The air smelled like pine and clean water. It still hurt, but it hurt in a way I could hold now. We weren't healed, but we were healing, and we weren't alone.